Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the State of the Ports Membership Luncheon, sponsored by McKay Sposito. I'm Lori Matson, President and CEO of the Tri-City Regional Chamber. Thanks so much for being here today at the Pasco Red Lion. We've got a nice crowd. It's good to see our crowds are getting bigger every single month. So we really appreciate you coming out live today. And we also want to welcome those who are joining us on Zoom today. I think we've got about 50 or 60 people on Zoom. So welcome to all of you as well. Though we're meeting in person, the Chamber is still very mindful of the risk posed by COVID-19. And you may have noticed the seating arrangement is a bit differently today, with the number of seats reduced at each table, providing everybody with a little bit of extra space. We ask that you wear a mask when you're not actively eating or drinking. Our region's port districts, the Port of Benton, the Port of Kennewick, the Port of Pasco, all play a key role in the economic vitality of the Tri-Cities by creating jobs, providing investment opportunities, and improving the quality of life. Collectively, they're important catalysts for growth, and each district's work will impact the regions for decades to come. Today, we're joined by Diahann Howard, Executive Director of the Port of Benton, Tim Arntzen, CEO of the Port of Kennewick, and Randy Hayden, Executive Director of the Port of Pasco, delivering updates on the latest projects from their respective ports, and they'll also answer questions from our audience. So at this time, I'd like to introduce the elected officials that have joined us for today's luncheon. We have a really special guest today, and it's not even in August. United States Congressman Dan Newhouse is here. Dan, if you'd please stand. It's so good to see you. Thanks so much. You can stay standing. We also have Kennewick Mayor Bill McKay, Richland Mayor Michael Alvarez, if you could please stand when I read your name so we can see all of our electeds, and Council Member from City of Richland, Teresa Richardson. We've got lots of port commissioners here today. From the Port of Benton, Commissioners Roy Keck, Christy Rasmussen, and Lori Stevens. From the Port of Pasco, we have Commissioners Vicki Gordon, Jim Klindworth, and Jean Reichman. And from Benton PUD, we have Commissioner Lori Sanders. And from Franklin PUD, we have Commissioner Stu Nelson. And if I missed anyone, please stand so that we can recognize you. Did I miss anybody? Oh, I'm sorry, Gretel. And we have from the City of Kennewick, we have Gretel Crawford. Sorry for missing you. Anyone else that we missed? All right, well, let's please give all of our elected officials a nice welcome. We appreciate all you do for our region. And now I'll ask everyone to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, you may be seated. Last month, hopefully you saw this, the Chamber released our 2021 annual report. Many of you should have received a copy in the mail. And if you haven't seen it though, I believe we're gonna have a QR code here, right there on our monitor. So you can take a picture from your phone and view it there. Our annual report highlights the Chamber's achievements over the past year, including the COVID-19 relief efforts, business advocacy, workforce programs, and much more. Bechtel is the sponsor of this year's publication, and here to say a few words is Stacy West, Manager of Communications for the Hanford Waste Treatment Plant. Please help me welcome Stacy West.
All right, thanks for having us and giving us the opportunity to sponsor the report. I encourage you, take a look online or take a look through a hard copy if you have one. You'll be able to see the great work that Lori and her team did in 2021, which by no means was an easy year, and we found was a sequel to 2020 in many ways. So looking forward to 2022 being much better. Wanted to call out specifically the great work related to legislative issues, the My Tri 2030. And then of course, I love the fact that your Facebook page has more followers than any other one for a chamber in the state of Washington. I want to thank all of our elected officials, but especially the small businesses that have been so resilient and worked so hard the last couple of years. Out at the Hanford Vit plant, we work with many local businesses and those across the country and know that it's been a especially difficult time. And Lori, you and your team are always great about stepping forward, bringing people together, because it's only together we can do great things. So just wanted to encourage you to take a look, thank the Chamber team for everything they do for our community, and say have a great lunch. Thanks.
Stacy, thanks so much for your financial investment and also for all the kind words. We really appreciate it. You guys are great partners. Now I'd like to invite Elizabeth Holt to the stage to announce the February Member of the Month and present membership plaques to our newest members. Elizabeth.
Thanks, Lori. Like she said, I'm excited to be able to be here again today to announce some of the Chamber's newest members who are able to join us at the luncheon today. So if I call your name, please join Lori over here, accept your membership plaque, and then we will pose for a group photo. First, we have Hector Rodriguez with Tito Eco Wash. We have Alex Kiley and Noah Weber with Caffeinated. We have David Sierra with Sierra's Landscaping. And we have Steve Bauman with Before Land Development. Looks like everybody was able to join us today that has RSVP. That's great. Look at this great group today. We look forward to working with each and every one of you. Let's give them a round of applause. Yeah. Next, it's my pleasure to announce the February Member of the Month. The Chamber's Recognition Committee takes special consideration to recognize businesses and organizations that positively impact our community. This organization is no exception. I'm pleased to announce that the committee has chosen Safe Harbor Support Center as the February Member of the Month. Safe Harbor has served their community since 1998. They consistently provide support for over 2,000 families in the Tri-Cities. Safe Harbor operates programs such as My Friend's Place, Sales Outlet, Incredible Years, Parents for Parents, and more. All programs are dedicated to helping children and families heal from trauma and recover from abuse and neglect. Throughout the years, the organization has adapted to fit the needs of our community. To learn more, visit, volunteer, or donate, visit the Safe Harbor Support Center Facebook page or their website at safeharborsupportcenter.org. Please help me welcome Sarah Harpster and Heather Schindedite to the stage to accept the plaque for the February Member of the Month with a round of applause.
Thank you for the recognition. And I do have some of my other senior staff at the table. I'd like to thank Sienna and Olivia for attending and all their hard work that they've dedicated to the community. These last 2 years have brought so many barriers to our agency, especially for our homeless teen shelter. They have not had to close one day throughout these 2 years. They've been able to provide 24/7 support, 24 hours, 7 days a week support to the most at-risk youth in the community. So thank you to my staff. I appreciate all of your dedication and hard work and all the pivoting you've had to do these past couple of years to get through. I'd like to I recognize several of the faces in the crowd who have been a support to our agency as well. So thank you for your continued support, and we're happy to be here and we appreciate the recognition.
Right. Thank you. And thanks for the great work you do in our community. And I also want to welcome all of our new members. It's great to see businesses are continuing to join and engage with our organization for the first time. So a sponsor of today's luncheon is McKay and Esposito, and Brian Cole, the Director of Landscape Architecture, is here today to say a few words. Please help me welcome Brian.
Good afternoon. I'm Brian Cole, and it's great to see everyone here in attendance in person. It's been a while. First, I want to thank the Tri-Cities Chamber for allowing us to sponsor this event. It's one of our favorite events of the year. As that sponsor, hopefully you had a chance to stop by our booth and meet a few of our staff here that we have, came over from Vancouver even to enjoy this event. We'd also like to thank the ports for all their dedication and to economic development in our community and making the Tri-Cities a great place to live. To show our gratitude, we have developed a short video that we'd like to share with you now and talk a little bit more about what we see in 2022.
My name is Tim Schauer, and I'm President Emeritus and Director of Land Development for McKay Esposito. Let me start by saying thank you to the Tri-City Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event today. Looks like it's going to be a great one. Now, I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize and applaud the job the Tri-City ports have done during this pandemic. McKay Esposito is incredibly proud of our long, successful partnership with the Tri-City ports. Makes it an easy thing for us to be here today. We understand how the ports and this business community can and have worked together to improve the quality of life and economic independence in this region. Over the past 2 years, when some chose to hunker down and wait it out, you ran towards the big problems for us, not away from them. You stayed open. You kept goods moving. You kept planning for the future, and you kept pushing needed projects forward, like Clover Island and Big Pasco, all while advocating tirelessly for the Tri-Cities in Olympia and beyond. 2021 will likely go down in history as perhaps one of the most disruptive and economically volatile years in many of our lifetimes. For business owners and ports alike, the uncertainty has been palpable. From facility closures to staffing problems, to surprising gaps in supply chains, to extreme spikes in demand for even the most basic products, and to the general fatigue this seemingly never-ending public health and government policy pandemic has presented. The list just goes on and on. No doubt, we have all had our own set of unique challenges in 2021, but I think it's fair to say for many of us, 2021 may also go down and be remembered as a year of the port. A time now when even the average American became keenly aware of the world ports live in every day. Average people now use phrases like supply chain problems, container shipping costs, chip shortages, truck driver shortages, unloading delays, and even repatriation and manufacturing, to name a few. I think that in the long run, this unique period will prove good for ports, because today, more people appreciate the critically important role ports play in our economic stability and societal health. In closing, I want to thank you. Thank you for transporting the goods that sustain us. Thank you for helping fuel the growth here. Thank you for the work being done to protect and improve our environment. And thank you for helping to strengthen the foundation of economic development here. We understand the hardship the past 2 years has wrought, and we are optimistic for what 2022 will bring. Thank you, and back to you, Brian.
Thanks, Tim. I really appreciate your advocacy in Olympia and here in Eastern Washington. It means a lot to us that you spend your time helping us for this event. As consultants in the energy, public works, and land development market sectors, we look forward to 2022 and the bright future here in the Tri-Cities. Now we look forward to hearing from the ports and the great things they're doing for us in our community. Thank you.
Brian, thanks so much. And thanks to McKay and Esposito for sponsoring our luncheon. We also have a networking partner, Boyada Brazilian Grill, with information about their carnival celebration on March 8th. Please visit their booth out in the lobby on your way out today. Now I'd like to turn things over to the chair of our board of directors, Andy Sterling. Come on up, Andy.
Failed to take my computer off mute. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, all right. You guys can do better for me than that, right? I'm 0 for the last 2. We'll get it in March. Anyway, let's get to our program. Our local ports, Port of Benton, Port of Kennewick, and the Port of Pasco have teamed up with PS Media for today's opening video titled, "What is a Port?" Following that presentation, we'll see videos from each port district in alphabetical order. Enjoy the videos.
Why 3 port districts? Port districts were authorized by the state in 1911 to encourage waterfront commerce. Since then, their economic development roles have expanded beyond the waterfront to building and operating airports, marinas, marine terminals, railroads, and industrial parks, to acting as a catalyst for community revitalization, business development, and tourism. In our state, port districts are established by citizen vote. There are 75 port districts in Washington state, from massive districts like Port of Seattle to very small districts like Port of Colodes. Yet they all share the same mission: economic development. Port of Kennewick was formed in 1915 and is the oldest port in eastern Washington. Port of Kennewick covers most of East Benton County, including Kennewick, Richland, West Richland, and a portion of Benton City. Port of Pasco was formed in 1940. Port of Pasco covers most of Franklin County from Pasco to Connell. Port of Benton was formed in 1958. The Port of Benton covers most of West Benton County, including Richland, Benton City, and Prosser. Each port uniquely evolved since being established, and they continue to engage in those activities which best address the changing needs of their districts.
'21 set the wheels in motion for Port of Benton to remain resilient with another year of remote work, limited socialization, and an inspired urge to return to normal. We focused on opportunities to support our tenants, enable private investment, and put properties back on the tax rolls, setting the stage for new partnerships, and advancing new game-changing clean energy technologies. In Benton City, we invested in Main Street by selling properties to bring a thriving commissary kitchen and retail venture alongside a permanent home for a long-established beauty salon. We made capital improvements at several port properties, including retrofitting lighting to high-efficiency LED systems, constructing roads, and installing curbing, gutters, and streetscape. We joined forces with our longtime partner, Washington State University Tri-Cities, to reopen the Walter Clore Wine and Culinary Center in Prosser. Also, a longtime port tenant, Witt Cellars, purchased a tasting room in Bittner's Village, making space for 2 new wineries at the nearby Prosser Wine and Food Park. Northwest Wine Collaborative opened its doors in December with its label Narrative. Curative Sparkling Wines will also open in the Prosser Wine and Food Park this spring. We ended 2021 soaring as we honored a pioneer and friend, Eddie Burnett, with a community celebration on December 1st, 60 years to the day after he became the first pilot to land at the newly public Richland Airport in 1961. Looking ahead, we have significant projects scheduled this year as a result of following our strategic plan and the prep work accomplished in 2021. At the Richland Airport, we're in the planning stages to replace the entire runway and taxiway electrical system later this year, using a $3.1 million grant from the Federal Aviation Administration that will fully pay for these projects. These substantial infrastructure improvements will require staggering closures of both the airport and rail ties and crossings at the rail network. And at Crow Butte Park in Patterson, we'll install parking payment kiosks for our guests to save them time and provide a contactless payment option on site. To advance clean energy projects, the port is using a $400,000 grant from the State Department of Commerce to form a first in the nation initiative called Washington Vertical. Washington Vertical will support the formation of the Clean Energy Supplier Alliance that will position Washington State as a model for clean energy development and accelerate projects by building supply chain capacity for advanced reactors like X Energies and other carbon-free technologies. The Alliance will also cultivate the best of innovation and align professional and skilled workforces. We're collaborating with Visit Tri-Cities to put the region on the map by helping implement the vision of the Tri-Cities Rivershore Enhancement Council and bring travel writers to the region via the Travel Blog Exchange, or TBEX event this spring. And we're preparing to build the White Bluff Center in North Richland. This new facility will provide a home for storage, archival, and loaning of the Hanford History Project collection. A future expansion of the center will include space for the growing B Reactor Tour Visitor Center and USS Triton Sail Park visitors to support regional STEM tourism and hospitality. As 2022 rolls on, we're excited to advance these major projects alongside our county, cities, and other partners to expand economic development, tourism, and recreation in the Tri-Cities and surrounding communities.
Economic development is the Port of Kennewick's mission. We work to foster jobs, build infrastructure, and enhance the quality of life in the Tri-Cities and surrounding region. In 2021, we continued engaging in transparent urban planning, sold land to cultivate private business, and constructed amenities to help transform tired neighborhoods into lively destinations. At Vista Field, the port is working to create a vibrant, pedestrian-focused development featuring mixed-use neighborhoods and urban lifestyle amenities. With financial support from our investment partners, Phase 1 infrastructure at the center of Vista Field is complete. That construction opened nearly 20 acres for development and included a linear park, fountains, and a retail plaza. The port adopted design standards and is finalizing the Vista Field Owners Association. The plan calls for offices, shops, restaurants, and entertainment spaces. And residential opportunities include single-family homes, condos, and multifamily housing, including mother-in-law cottages and places to live above and work below. The port will act as master developer and work with the private sector to build commercial, retail, and residential to fill out this unique urban neighborhood. Proceeds from land sales will help fund future infrastructure at Vista Field until the entire 103-acre site plan is complete. On Clover Island, the port and our partners are focused on amenities, improving the shoreline, and expanding access to the Columbia River. A construction project is underway to restore Clover Island shoreline and expand waterfront recreation. Those efforts will also extend the Riverwalk Trail, create 3 new viewing areas, and add lighting, landscaping, benches, and interpretive panels. Along Columbia Drive in East Kennewick, we are working with our partners to bring additional improvements and new businesses to the Columbia Gardens Wine and Artisan Village. We now have 6 shovel-ready parcels available for sale. The port expanded the food truck plaza by installing additional power and constructing a second patio. And we welcomed new food trucks, including Nonfiction by Jay Bookwalter and Taste of Wok. The food truck plaza now features a variety of regular and pop-up vendors offering delicious food and beverage options. Columbia Gardens is now home to award-winning wineries, Bartholomew, Monarcha, and Gordon. Columbia Gardens has become a popular destination with artwork, food, wines, fun activities, and a recreational path, all nestled alongside a scenic nature pond. To help drive the next decade of port investments on Clover Island and along Columbia Drive, we adopted a community-driven master plan for Kennewick's historic waterfront district. And while Vista Field and the waterfront have been our main areas of focus, public safety is also essential for economic development. Port of Kennewick was a catalyst in helping West Richland complete its new police station. We also supported the city of Kennewick's improvement to Washington Street, and helped with easements and funding for their new fire station at Vista Field. And we supported the city of Richland in upgrading the Columbia Park Trail roadway, which creates new development opportunities alongside the Columbia River. This year, Port of Kennewick will continue serving as an economic development catalyst throughout our 485 square mile district. And as we have done since our founding in 1915, the port will foster partnerships and implement creative work plans that address evolving community needs. The Port of Kennewick, we're working for you.
Hi, I'm Randy Hayden, the Executive Director for the Port of Pasco. Thanks for joining us today as we explore the many great things our local ports are doing in our community. First, I'd like to introduce you to the Port of Pasco Commissioners, President Vicki Gordon, Vice President Gene Reichman, and Secretary Jim Clinworth. The Port of Pasco encompasses land located in southeast Washington at the confluence of the Snake and Columbia Rivers. The port's properties, and they are many, are the Wharf, Big Pasco Industrial Center and Container Terminal, Osprey Point, the Tri-Cities Airport, Airport Industrial Park, Airport Business Center, Pasco Processing Center, Foster Wells Business Center, the Ryman Industrial Center, and the newest addition, PIC 395. These properties host a mix of industrial, commercial, and transportation-related businesses and function. Up until February of 2020, the Tri-Cities Airport has seen a steady increase of 2021 are nearly pandemic levels, up 83% in 2019. As part of its recovery, the airport saw the addition of 2 new airlines in 2021, Avelo Airlines and AHA Airlines, who offered direct flights to Burbank, California, and Reno. Allegiant also added seasonal flights to San Diego. PSC is also continuing to provide direct flights to Seattle, Salt Lake, Denver, Minneapolis, Las Vegas, Phoenix Mesa, San Francisco, and seasonally to LAX. Tri-Cities Airport Business Center, the port, and committed private partner Solgen Power recently received some great news in the form of a $2.9 million loan and grant from the State Community Economic Revitalization Board that will be used to construct a new road and taxiway at the Tri-Cities Airport Business Center. Solgen Power is expanding their renewable solar power operations with a new 50,000 square foot building and private hangar. The expansion is expected to create over 400 new jobs in our community. The last of 13 lots at the Foster Wells Business Park, located off of Highway 395 and Foster Wells, were sold in 2020, capping the success of this light industrial park. Since that time, construction of businesses at the site has been heavy, with most new buildings now either completed or well underway. Ryman Industrial Center, also located off of 395, will soon be home to a state-of-the-art Dairy Gold facility. At 550,000 square feet, an investment value near $1.5 billion, it will be the largest milk processing facility in North America. When completed, the complex will provide an estimated 500 full-time living wage jobs and more than 1,000 new jobs among support services and supply chain needs. Dairy Gold purchased 150 of 300 available acres in the Ryman Industrial Center and plans to begin construction next month, with completion scheduled for the end of 2023. The port, along with its great partners at the City of Pasco, Franklin PUD, and Franklin County, will be investing more than $20 million to bring infrastructure to the first phase of the Ryman development. While that's occurring, we're already working to secure funding and approvals to ready the second half of Ryman for the next industrial users. On the other side of Highway 395, Reeser's new fresh foods facility has risen from the ground and is nearing completion. The new 250,000 square foot facility will provide close to 300 new jobs and will allow their existing plant in Pasco to be retooled for other products. The new facility sprang from a partnership between Reeser's and the Port and City of Pasco. CEO Mark Reeser credited their long-standing relationship with the community for making Pasco the chosen location for their newest plant. To facilitate the project, the port partnered with Reesers to buy a 93-acre parcel of ground from the Cox family just south of Foster Wells Road. Reesers kept 38 acres for their project, leaving 55 acres for the port to create our newest property, Pasco Industrial Center 395, or PIC 395 for short. Development plans for Osprey Point continue to move forward. Led by JMS Development, our shared vision for this unique and beautiful piece of property is to create a vibrant public waterfront surrounded by a mix of retail, restaurant, professional, and residential buildings. JMS Construction is in the process of securing the required permits for the first phase, a 60,000 square foot marketplace, and hopes to break ground this spring. In closing, the port would like to recognize the efforts of Tridec and our private development community on helping bring 2 new large projects to East Pasco. Just down the street from the port's Big Pasco Industrial Park, Amazon is building 2 mega distribution centers of 1,800,000 and 1,049,000 square feet. Slated to open later this year, the 2 fulfillment centers will bring an estimated 1,500 new jobs to the area. Not far away, Local Bounty, an indoor agricultural startup founded in Montana, is building its 2nd facility in the nation in Pasco. It will be comprised of 32 vertical greenhouses on 28 acres to grow different varieties of lettuce and fresh herbs. As always, it has been a pleasure sharing information about the projects the port is working on, as well as our efforts to promote continued economic growth and stability in our region. Thank you and enjoy your lunch.
No? Oh, beautiful. So first and foremost, let's give our ports and their respective executives another round of applause, please. So we kind of have something pretty cool lined up for you all. We have the opportunity to bring up our port execs, and I'll take a second here to introduce each of them. I know Tim's going to join us virtually. So we have some pre-submitted questions. We'll go through those first, and then you all will have an opportunity. And I believe Elizabeth will be walking around. So we've got a microphone. Yeah, beautiful. There's Elizabeth right over there. So we've got a microphone coming around. And then for those that are on Zoom, use the notes, or what is it, the comments feature there, and we'll make sure that we get your question asked and answered. So to kick it off, and I apologize, it's a little awkward without my podium, so you're just going to have to bear with me, please. All right, first and foremost, I'd like to welcome up Diahann Howard. Diahann was named Port of Benton's Executive Director in December of 2019. Diahann is the first female to hold the Port of Benton Executive Director position and first Executive Director with Latina heritage among the 75 port districts within Washington State. Welcome, Diahann. Okay, I don't see him quite yet. Maybe you do. Nope. Joining us virtually today is Tim Arntzen, CEO of the Port of Kennewick. Tim has been the CEO since 2004. During Tim's tenure, the port has received the Governor's Award for Workforce and Economic Development's Best Practices, River Shore Enhancement, Columbia Drive Redevelopment, Vista Field Master Planning, and the Governor's Heritage Award for significant contributions to Washington State's creative vitality. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you.
And then finally, last but certainly not least, Randy Hayden is the Executive Director at the Port of Pasco, where he has worked for the past 20 years. He oversees the port's 2 largest industrial parks, barge terminal, intermodal rail yard, commercial properties, and the Tri-City Regional Airport. Welcome, Randy. Okay, as I mentioned, oh, there's Tim. Welcome, Tim. Hopefully you got something nice to eat this afternoon. I know we did. All right, first and foremost, Diahann, can you go into a bit more detail on what Washington Vertical is and how it's going to benefit the community?
Andy, I will. But first and foremost, I just want to make a note. I know my #1 job is to always show my commissioners on a video. However, today I have the privilege of first introducing them to you because we have 2 new commissioners. So I'd like to go ahead and just have them recognized one more time. Commissioner Roy Keck, not new, but Commissioner Roy Keck. Commissioner Christy Rasmussen, new, and Commissioner Lori Stevens. Going forward, they of course will be included on the video, but I wanted to specifically highlight them today. I'd also like to thank the Chamber for this event, and I'd also like to recognize my entire Port of Benton team. I am so grateful and thankful for each and every one of them, those that are here and those that are watching online. Andy, back to your question, apologize. But a little bit more about Washington Vertical. Really, Washington Vertical is all about supporting the creation of Clean Energy Supplier Alliance. And Dave McCormick's in the back, and he is also working with us on this project. It will really help us identify the gaps of advanced reactors in clean energy supply chains specifically, and provide the framework for developers that they can easily access some competencies in this areas. And then facilitating the deployment of the advanced reactors, especially because of the aggressive schedule that's been laid out by the US Department of Energy as part of the ADRP, so the Advanced Reactor Development Project. So these reactors need to be on schedule by 2027, just to give you an idea of their aggressive timeline. And then really the most important part is really to help our communities, our businesses, realize the benefits of clean energy technologies, including those most severely impacted by the retirement of carbon emitting resources and generation facilities, just providing options to our industries first and foremost, and it gets again expanding our business network.
Great, thank you very much. Next question is for Tim. We had him and we lost him. Tim, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Beautiful. Okay, Tim, I got a good one for you. When can we expect to see development at Vista Field?
Well, first of all, I knew you were going to ask that question, and I'd like to get to it, but we have a new commissioner as well. You probably know him as the Kennewick Police Chief, Ken Hohenberg. He's been in our community for many, many years. I want to say 44 years in law enforcement, been the police chief for a long, long time. And he's our newest port commissioner. Just wanted to welcome him on board. And I'm sure that he's going to have the same big impact at the Port of Kennewick as he's had with the city of Kennewick. So Ken, thanks for joining us. Your question, it's a question that everybody wants to ask, and it's the question that everybody does ask. When will Vista Field be ready? And the answer is soon. And I guess I was having a little bit of fun with you, but if things go well, if we don't get pulled in too many different directions with some of the things that are coming up unexpectedly, this is something that I would like to think by June 1st, we can have the for sale signs in the ground. We've done all sorts of preparation. The commission in their meeting yesterday just checked some other things off the list. They've got the Owners Association formed, and that's an association that will assess dues on the property. And that goes into a fund to do all the maintenance of the areas, the street sweeping, the tree pruning, things like that. So there were 101 administrative things that needed to be done, and we're now kind of on the final lap, as they say. So it's going to be soon. And I just wanted to read you a quote here that I saw today. It's from Vincent van Gogh, and it says, "Great things are not done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together." And I kind of think that's where we're at with Vista Field. A lot of things that have been looped together, and we're really, really close to being ready to go. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Tim. You know, it's been on a lot of people's minds. And so what's your personal phone number if we have follow-up questions?
Yeah, my personal phone number is 539. Thank you.
Yeah, you. All right, over to Randy. Randy, what are your top, what are Port of Pasco's top priorities going into the new year?
Thanks, Andy. Well, keeping with the theme here, we've recognized our commissioners at the Port of Pasco, but I would really like to recognize our staff. And we've got 2 tables back here of our staff, and all the great things that you saw up on the screen, they are the ones that make that happen along with our commission. So thank you to the staff. And I think that there's a round of applause. So one of our main goals at the Port of Pasco, and I think you saw it reflected in our video, is large industrial growth. And we really focus on that because it provides those living wage jobs that we all like and a healthy tax base for our community to help support everything that we like to do. So to those ends, we pursue making shovel-ready sites that can attract a large business. And as you saw, there's been some successes this year. It goes in waves. You know, there's sometimes when you're getting a few, and then there's many years when you're not. So we were fortunate that we've had a couple good projects land our way over the past couple of years, starting with Dairygold. And man, that when you talk about a community partnership and effort, that really was the picture of how that works well. The city of Pasco, the county, TRIDEC, the PUD, we really all had to pull together to make that really just a farm circle out north of Pasco work for Dairygold. And it's going to require a lot of money. It's going to require a lot of time and effort, a lot of engineering, and we'll make that work for Dairygold. And that was our promise to them. It's like, we're not ready now, but if you choose Pasco, we will roll up our sleeves and we'll make it work for you. So a couple of the big funding sources, we got $7.5 million from the state, and they recognize that if Dairygold builds this new plant in Washington, and they were looking across the Northwest, so it wasn't a given that it was going to go in Washington State. That $7.5 million that they have dedicated towards infrastructure, they will receive back every year in just the sales taxes, payroll taxes, et cetera, that they will get from Dairygold. So it really was a win-win for the state to help us out on the front end here. And then uniquely on the local funding, we're planning on around $4 or $5 million from a new tool called tax increment financing that just passed the legislature last session last year. And the Port of Pasco will be the first in the state to use it. And the basic premise is that the new property taxes that Dairygold brings into the county will be dedicated to help pay for the infrastructure to serve Dairygold. So they are paying their own way for that infrastructure. So I think very unique project, and we're very fortunate that Senator Schessler in the state Senate helped us with that state funding, along with all of our great legislators in the 8th, 9th, and 16th districts, all came together to support that project. So a lot of partnership going on there. And then as you saw, because of the strong interest in the Ryman with Dairygold and Research across the highway with their new plant, we did pick up some new ground, that PIC 395 property. And we've already got a purchase sale agreement with Old Dominion to build a new large trucking facility to help support the food processors and others in our region. They're just growing leaps and bounds. And we all know that trucking is one of those things that with the supply chain issues, we need to be working on. So they're going to hopefully be picking up a piece of that new industrial park. And then we've already got a couple others that we're talking to. So I don't think it'll be very long before that PIC 395 has also got some large industry attached to it as well. So those are a couple of our main priorities.
Jeez, it doesn't sound like you're staying busy at all, Randy. All right, Diane, back to you. When are the rail crossing projects expected to take place?
Well, as you saw in the video, our rail definitely needs some attention. So we've been working with our Shoreline operator, and we have pledged port dollars, $1.1 million this year towards 2 crossings. The first one is Cemetery Crossing, which will take place after the Memorial holiday, hopefully the 1st or 2nd week in June. And then you saw the Van Giesen Crossing. That's the one that we thank our City of Richland partners because they hear about it as much as we do. And we will be focusing on that later in the summer. But it's been a consistent, to Randy's point, a consistent discussion and partnerships, especially with the state of Washington, and want to thank the state legislature for their support in the past of our bridge infrastructure and other rail infrastructure needs. And we will be continuing to actively go forward with further investment in rail.
Great, thank you. All right, next to Tim, and I'm just talking to a blank screen here. There he is. Hey, Tim. Next question. What's next on the list for the Wine Village?
Yeah, we have completed the design standards for all of the Columbia Drive area. And it's an area overall of about 16 acres that we have. We have several parcels there. In the center is the Wine Village, about a 6-acre chunk of land. We've completed design standards, and we now have 6 lots for sale. Well, I need to correct myself, 5 lots for sale because we just sold one. Swampy's Barbecue that has a food truck there has recently reached an agreement with the port to buy some property. He's going to build a bricks and mortar barbecue facility, his staging area. So he's moving from a food truck, purchasing land, building, getting things back on the tax rolls. So that's one of the things that we've recently accomplished there, got the lots ready to go. I would like to think that we will have additional interest. I heard some positive comments just last night. I was presenting to the Kennewick City Council meeting. I think there's a lot of interest in the Wine Village area, but things are ready to go now. And again, you know, remember the quote, takes a lot of little things stitched together to get properties ready to go. So we are ready to go there. And as you know, we have the two production wineries. We have Bartholomew and we have Palencia. Both of those folks are award-winning wineries. They produce on-site. They also have tasting rooms. And then we have little, what I call the duplex tasting room building. We have Gordon Estates in one side. And then again, down there, we have the 6 food trucks. So things are really moving there. We also have projects. We're adding new shade structure. We're adding new ADA accessible bathroom facility there. We will be doing some landscaping and then some additional work at Duffy's Pond. For those of you that remember, Duffy's Pond was kind of a urban eyesore, if you will. Years ago, there was a lot of debris that had been just dropped into the pond thoughtlessly, but over the years, we've worked to clean it up. It's now a centerpiece. It's almost like a wildlife sanctuary. So there's a lot of things that are coming together piece by piece that really make the Wine Village kind of a happening area. But I think the thing that I'm most proud of now is we do have the 5 lots, the 5 remaining lots of the 6 that are available for sale.
Great, thanks, Tim. All right, back to you, Randy. And I promise we will open it up for Q&A. We'll get through our pre-submitted and then we'll open it up again virtually and to our folks in person. So Randy, we heard about your top priorities, but what are some of the challenges that you feel the Port of Pasco faces?
Yeah, there's a number, and I don't think these are particular to the Port of Pasco. Number 1 on my list would be just workforce. With a raise of hands, who of you here is dealing with some workforce issues, not being able to find people or the right person or enough people? I think it's pretty universal in our country right now. And workforce in the Tri-Cities, that really has been traditionally one of our strengths, that we have had an able workforce and a lot of people willing to go to work, and that just isn't the case anymore. So when I'm looking at the screen with all the things that all the ports are doing, that's just three agencies, and all of you, the cities. I mean, we're going to need a lot more people here working in the Tri-Cities. So where those folks come from, I don't have an answer. This is just challenges, right? You didn't ask me for an answer. Okay, all right. So that's a challenge. I think we're a little marginally better than some of the other areas that I hear of, but we still have a lot of work to do to get the workers that we need. Right following that, I would say would be affordable housing, because once we find the workers, where are they going to live? And I think more and more companies that we talk to that are looking for expansion or new sites, that's one of their top criteria anymore, is where are the people and where are they going to live. So they're looking into that. Again, that used to be a strength of the Tri-Cities. We all know that affordable housing was just something that was a great opportunity here in the Tri-Cities, and we don't have that. It's tough to find any place in the state anymore where a first-time home buyer can afford a house. So luckily, I think there is a bit of an answer on that thanks to the city of Pasco, and they have really taken the lead on working on their zoning codes to allow some flexibility with duplexes, fourplexes, and they also got a grant to put together a housing action plan. So I think the city is really taking the lead on that across the state, and we'll have some good solutions for us. The last challenge that I see for growing economic development, industrial development, is our power capacity in our region, and particularly Franklin County. I think all of us we see the dams and Columbia Generating Station, and we think, well, we're right in the middle of all this power. We don't have any problem. But unfortunately, most of that goes on transmission lines over to the west side, and there isn't a lot left here for the Tri-Cities. So number 1, we've got to preserve our Snake River dams. Ice Harbor Dam in particular is crucial towards keeping our lights on in Franklin County and the Tri-Cities. So that has to stay along with the other dams. But 2, we need to come up with some new sources of power into the region. Franklin PUD has really been working well, and the other PUDs with BPA to get new transmission lines into our area, and that will increase the capacity. And then I think the small modular nuclear reactors are another potential source in the future of committed base load that can help us with that issue.
Thanks, Randy. Okay, Diahann, you're working on a pretty extensive project, the Richland Airport electrical replacement project. Can you tell us a little more about what that entails? And
But anyway, airport $1 million project, really excited about this opportunity, working with the FAA, 100% funded. We'll be able to replace all the existing runway, taxiway lighting systems, also the entrance guidance systems, as well as precision path. I always have to ask Buck some of these terms, you know, so I want to thank the Port of Pasco, by the way, for their collaboration and partnership. Always, if I have questions, I can always reach out to them, as well as to the Port of Kennewick on the items, and just want to compliment them on their planning efforts. Sorry, back to my project. So also emergency generator. So what's happening is the project's going to take place between July and October. There will be a period in time where we will have to close a portion of the runway. And that's just because of the equipment that the contractor is going to bring in. And we don't have all of that information yet because it hasn't been put out to bid and we don't know the schedule. So anyone, I'm looking at Mark Showalter that I know has a hangar out there. Anyone that has interest in needing to know the schedule, please go to the Port of Benton's website. We have started a communication link with all airport users, anyone that has interest, and any additional road closures or reroutes of detours. So we'll want to keep you informed either on the rail project that I just mentioned, or the Richland Airport project, or any others that are coming online. It's critical for us to continue to make the investments in our assets, especially our rail and our airports. They are growing. It serves the rest of North Richland. And again, our rail also is both class ones can run direct on it. So UP and Burlington Northern Santa Fe can run direct. And that feeds all of the companies out in North Richland. So it's very critical for us as we move these projects forward. So looking forward to that happening, but please stay tuned. If you need any more information, Summers is available. Give her a call. I'm always available too, but please sign up for the newsletter. Thank you.
perfect, thank you. All right, Tim, when the Shoreline project is complete, what happens next at Clover Island?
Sure, yeah, another great question. And for those of us that have been in the community for a while, you've heard talk of restoring the Clover Island shoreline for years and years and years. Tana Bader and Glima of my team has been on this project for 13 years. We've been working with the Army Corps of Engineers to bring in $5 million of federal funding. And, you know, when you work with a large federal agency such as the Corps, you have to be very, very patient. And I would have never have thought it would have taken 13 years. Didn't think it would take that long, even dealing with the federal government. But we're at the finish line. The work is underway. People ought to go down and see it. It's impressive. We have received unprecedented cooperation from everybody that could potentially, kind of have a flag to raise over this issue. We've received complete support from the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation. And as you know, whenever you do shoreline work, you have to really have a great working relationship with the tribes because of their care for the land and the waterfront. They've been the greatest partner on earth for us on this project. So what's next? Well, we want to get through this project, and it's going to be just a short time. The shoreline will be completed. We will stabilize the bank. We will have enhanced the wildlife habitat for salmon, other fish, wildlife. We will have created some natural islands. We will have returned the shoreline to a much more natural condition. There will also be a recreational element with trails and pathways and interpretive signage. And over the last few years, we've seen the use of Clover Island not only quadruple, but beyond that. It's just been incredible. So for those people that want to come out, use the island, whether just walking or visiting any number of our restaurants, other amenities there, this is going to be big. This is going to be huge. But when you say what's next, I think perhaps one of the most exciting parts of this is that we will have a number of lots ready for development on Clover Island. Finally, you know, if we think, gee, Vista Field's taken a while, Clover Island has taken longer, and not because anybody wanted to delay, but just because of layer upon layer of agencies, and it was just a monumental task. But go out there and take a look. The earth equipment is moving. It's going to be impressive. And what's next is we will have property there ready for development. And this is very, very important for East Kennewick. We don't want to overlook East Kennewick. We don't want to just keep moving west and building new. We want to be respectful of our downtown core. And I think the Port of Kennewick, the city of Kennewick have done an amazing job to not forget about East Kennewick. And this is, like I say, $5 million of federal money coming back into our community. So we're ready to go. It's going to be exciting.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tim. All right, I'm going to pause and see if we have any questions in-house or online. I know I'm getting assistance with that.
I think they did a great job. I think there is a Zoom question that came in.
Beautiful.
All right, I think this question is for Randy. Jose is wondering if the Port of Pasco is in talks with organizations like Ben Franklin Transit to accommodate individuals that need transportation out to Amazon, Dairy Gold Racers, et cetera.
No, but I will say we get to talk with them frequently, and that has come up. So I wouldn't say there's any definite plans on how we work that out around our office at Osprey Point. That has been part of the discussions on that new development on where a bus stop could be located there. Amazon, as was mentioned in the video, is a private development, so we have not really gotten involved in that, but it definitely seems like there's a great need for transit out there. We have been talking with the transit about an airport stop, and it's a bit difficult just because of the frequency of when the flights come in and the numbers, but that's also something that we've been talking with transit about. So I'd say we're open to do whatever makes sense for our community, and certainly as we talk about these workforce issues and new housing patterns, we're going to have to work transit into that story to make it work.
Great. Thanks, Randy. Great question. Any other questions?
I have one more on Zoom coming in from Wendy.
Nice.
Again for Randy. She's wondering if you could clarify the partners on the Amazon project you mentioned.
Yeah, so that was pretty much a private project. The landowners there worked directly with Amazon to site that project. So I know they had to get permits to the city of Pasco, but I don't even think the city was that involved in attracting Amazon. That really was just the right location for them, and I think the right base of employment for them, and that's how they chose that site. So that has been pretty much private development.
Thank you. All right, anything else online? In person? You guys are gonna let them off the hook that easy, huh? Fair enough.
Someone right over here.
Oh, yes.
I just have a quick question. I remember in the slideshow, it mentioned that the Port of Kennewick also covers parts of Benton City, in addition to Port of Benton. I just wanted to get some clarification. Does the Port of Kennewick have any involvement with Benton City? I know we've spoke to the Port of Benton. I'm saying we as in local business owners of Benton City. Just wanted to get some clarification there.
Sure, I guess, would you like me to field that one?
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, we do. The boundary is the Yakima River. So the Port of Kennewick has just a little bit of some newly acquired property. Port of Benton City bought some property just, I guess, to the south of the interchange there off of the freeway. So that's really the only thing that is in Port of Kennewick. I think Diahann gets more of the claim to fame. The downtown of Benton City is in the Port of Benton district. But, you know, we always work in partnership, and, you know, there's not really a lot of competition among the three ports. There's more cooperation. So a lot of times we can find projects that we can do jointly. But just specifically to answer your question, it's just the extreme southern portion of Benton City that is in the Port of Kennewick district.
Thanks, Tim. Perfect. So I guess if there are no other questions, All right.
Excited about the opportunities looking forward, especially for this community, to be able to highlight our professional skilled and technical trades workforce. To me, is a passion in my heart. The over 100 companies that we have that are focused around clean energy, really the efforts that have been brought together in the past 10 years, working with TRIDEC and the industry members at the Mid-Columbia Energy Initiative, and most recently with the Energy Council. I'm really excited about the opportunities that come to bear. When we look at the workforce needs that are coming in for Amazon, I also see it as an opportunity to upskill and continue to stay STEM focused for our region, for our communities. And I just like to first and foremost end with a thank you to all of you. You guys have given us the reason that why we get up every day and why we make sure our facilities are ready for your return. So I look forward to our continued work together. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. Randy?
Took me off guard. I was waiting for Tim here. So
I like to run rogue a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have many closing thoughts. I should have mentioned just a big, huge thanks to Congressman Newhouse on your effort on the Snake River dams. I mean, that is just something that we all wish would just go away, and it keeps unfortunately escalating and escalating, and it's required some champions to even protect what we've done. And Congressman Newhouse has been one of those out in front in DC trying to help us with that. So thank you. Other than that, again, I would just like to thank all the small businesses that are part of the port. We've got 2 industrial parks that are the everyday contractors, manufacturers, just that keeps our community going. And we don't really highlight them ever in these sorts of events because it's not the new and exciting thing, but they are the base of what keeps the port and the Tri-Cities going. So thanks to all of you as small businesses, and particularly those who are port tenants.
All right, thanks, Randy. And Tim, any final thoughts?
Sure, thank you. Again, great appreciation for the small businesses that have invited us here. It's always good to see my colleagues, Diane and Randy. I just wanted to follow up on a point Randy made with all of the new businesses coming into our community and the workers and so forth. I think this is another opportunity for collaboration with the jobs out in the Port of Pasco district and other parts of our community. I think Vista Field is going to be an attractive opportunity. When it's built out, there will be over 1,100 units of housing there. We have all housing and income levels. So I think that's really going to be a critical piece of the puzzle in our community. And we all agree that the housing prices are just escalating so rapidly, but there's a great opportunity at Vista Field. And we've already talked with a lot of private developers. They want to come in and build some housing that kind of brings us back to when houses used to be modestly priced. I don't want to use the term affordable housing because that creates a certain stigma, whether it's fair or not. But Vista Field can be a solution to help our community with the rapid growth that we are seeing. So again, thank you, everybody. Thanks to the Port Commission for allowing me to do this. Thanks for the Chamber for providing this opportunity for all 3 of us.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tim. So with that, if we could give our respective executives from our local ports a big round of applause. Thank you. Yeah, you bet. Thank you. All right. Next up, I'd like to have Brian, if you'd like to join us. I think you, Brian, with McKay Esposito. They have a special giveaway. Again, McKay Esposito being our sponsor for today.
Great, thank you, Andy. In support of our small businesses, we wanted to give a little appreciation for being here with us. And so under random seats, we have selected gift cards from each of those businesses. They're also chamber members. And if you want to take a look underneath your chair now, you may be one of 5 individuals who would get it. So it's taped underneath one of the chairs there. And there may be some that don't have anything. Just watch for gum though. Yeah, I should. Yes. And if you get one, raise your hand just so we know that they're picked up. We got 1, 2, 3. Should be one more.
Check my chair.
4 and 5. Yeah, thank you. I saw 3. Is there 5? 5? All right. Great. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you again, McKay Esposito. Did Mr. Hayden win some furniture? Yeah. All right. All right. So I'd like to wrap up with you guys. Thanks again. It's great to see everybody in person. I have a few thank yous. Again, McKay Esposito, thank you for being our sponsor today. Our guest speakers, Diahann, Randy, Tim, you guys were phenomenal. Thank you. I going off script here again, but really appreciate the collaboration that you guys bring. It's really important in the Tri-Cities that we have that. So thank you very much. Today's networking partner, Boyata, do they still have their table? They do. Fantastic. So check that out as you're making your way out. The wonderful staff at the Red Lion, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. They did a great job. Food was phenomenal. Also to the chamber team, you guys always show up, show out. So thank you. And then a sincere thank you to everybody that showed up. The crowds are slowly getting bigger. It's making me just a little more nervous. Clearly the jokes aren't getting any better. Also, thank you to those that showed up on Zoom. I'm staring at a blank screen here, but for those that can see me, thank you so much. And, so this is great. So next month's luncheon is going to be entitled Retail's Future in a Post-Pandemic Economy. And that'll feature Renee Sunday. So, and if you haven't seen Renee speak, she is great. I think it's been a couple of years since we've had her, and she was one of my favorites. So make sure that you get signed up for that. Today's luncheon will be posted on our Facebook page, YouTube channel. So make sure you forward the presentations along, and then make sure that you like and subscribe. And with that, drive safe and have a great rest of your day.